And hi, everybody, and welcome back in. Jim Hunter joined by Roch Kubatko. And Roch, 4 more players brought up in the minor leagues today. We think this is it. We think all the call-ups have been called up. Let's give our viewers a look if they weren't with us earlier. Here's who got called up today. Quentin Berry comes up from AAA Norfolk, where he had a real good year, including 25 stolen bases. Steve Clevenger and T.J. McFarland, who were here the other day, sent down to Aberdeen for a couple of days. They did play for the Ironbirds, and as Buck said before the game, helped them in a win. Clevenger and McFarland are back. And Ryan Webb comes back from AAA Norfolk, 3-2 with a 3.80 with the Orioles. So, Roch, I count 8 players on the bench tonight, so that means 17 position players, 11 men in the bullpen, up from the 8, which was one too many or one more than usual, and then 5 starters. So 33 players now going forward. Now, Buck said before the game he thinks this is it, but he always leaves that caveat open just in case.
Right. I'm still winded from helping getting the tarp on the field.
Good
so
job,
forgive me a little bit. I know that was tough. Actually, I mean, right now we think that they're done. But, you know, they've got the this taxi squad, which sounds like a football term, but it's actually now a baseball term as well, in Sarasota. They have a bunch of guys there that are working out and kind of staying ready. You got some veteran guy. I think Alexi Casillas down there now. You've got, like, Mike Wright, some young pitchers, position players, Henry Urrutia, Daryl Alvarez. I think Christian Walker is expected to be the minor league player of the year. They're all there kind of working out, staying ready just in case they're needed. And that would probably only be in, like, an injury situation. Otherwise, I think they're set. Buck doesn't like to have a bunch of guys crowded in the clubhouse and in the dugout if he's not going to use them, especially when you're going to Fenway Park, which the visiting clubhouse is about the size of a phone booth. So you guys would have to probably get dressed to the hotel and bus over. They're not looking forward to doing that either. So they're trying to keep the numbers down. They got their extra catcher, which teams always do with Steve Clevenger in this case. They wanted a couple extra bullpen arms. Joe Saunders, the experiment, lefty now specialist, is up to help out in that regard. And Ryan Webb, we kind of forgot about, was sent down August 3rd. We hadn't seen him since then. They got the utility guy in Jimmy Paredes. They have an extra outfielder in Quentin Berry, 29 for 29 in stolen bases in the majors, can help out as a pinch runner, kind of a defensive specialist.
All right, let's talk a bit about Quentin Berry, because Buck, with these extra available players where he can spot a player, if he wants to use Quentin Berry, as the Red Sox did last year when they called him up, let's not forget, he made the postseason roster with the Red Sox last year, had 3 steals in the postseason, including 1 in the World Series. That's an intriguing guy to be sitting on a bench late in the game, a tight game, a tie game maybe, and you put Quentin Berry in and possibly steal a base for you.
Right, that's the luxury of the expanded roster, because now you have these extra moves to make. Normally you might not have the luxury of carrying a stolen base guy, a pinch runner. Now you can do that. So, and he's a high school teammate of Adam Jones, and they're still like really close friends. So of course we asked Buck, hey, any chance they could play in the outfield together? How special would that be? And Buck's like, great, put that pressure on me now. Now I've got to go ahead and try and do this. If he thinks he can help him win games, though, he certainly will do it. So he has a nice weapon to have on the bench with the expanded roster, and Buck will take advantage of the rule as much as he can. You know, he's talked about again that he thinks that in September, when rosters expand, you should be able to bring up as many guys as you want on the 40, but only have 25 designated for each series. When a series ends, you can swap guys out, but only have the 25. It does change the way you manage a game. I mean, you may as well take advantage of it, but here he is now trying to match up probably with a Brian Mattis against a tough lefty, or maybe Saunders now, knowing now on the bench there's probably 12 right-handed pinch hitters there, right, because the rules have changed. It does change the way you manage a game in September when you're in a pennant race. So he's not really a huge fan of that, but as long as those are the rules, he can also work them to his advantage.
Well, he may not be a big fan at it, but he's better than anyone at utilizing the players to their best. Let's not forget what he did in 2012 with all those extra players. I mean, remember that year, Steve Pearce had left the organization. He was with the Astros and the Yankees, came back to the Orioles for the last week of the season just in case they needed a right-handed pinch hitter. And when you have 11 relievers, and we have no idea what's going to happen here tonight. Right. Remember, Bud Norris had the start in Chicago. There was a 3-hour rain delay after the second inning. He couldn't come back. We don't know if this one's going to be as long. They're going to have to take some time to get this field ready. But to have those 11 relievers in there, and many of them rested to bridge the gap to the back end of the bullpen where obviously they have their roles, that is something that Buck excels in, and now he has the extra arms to do it.
Right. And again, he can always go ahead and bring up more guys if he has to. He said that we think we're done. Now, tomorrow, if they had to make a move, they could go ahead and do it. But it does help to have the depth in the bullpen, especially, you know, Andrew Miller is kind of day-to-day. Buck doesn't like to reveal the injury report to the other manager. It might use it to their advantage. But Miller, you know, tweaked his left leg a little bit, throwing that last pitch yesterday. And I think Buck would really like to lay off of him if he could. So fine. Now you can go ahead and say, well, that's all right, because we have Joe Saunders if we need a lefty, and we have Ryan Webb, who can maybe go multiple innings for you if you need that. So it does really help, especially if you have a guy that you're not too sure about and you want to lay off of him, to have the extra arms.
And of course, it did come up again today at Buck's pregame press briefing, the magic number. Well, we talk about the magic number. Buck wants nothing to do with the magic number. He says his players want nothing to do with the magic number. And you know what? Maybe that's why they play so well. They don't dwell on anything except what's in front of them, which tonight is the Cincinnati Reds. Now, Roch and I both know the magic number is 19. We know it's single digits to eliminate the Red Sox. Well, we could talk about it on TV, just between you and our audience here. But I think it's wonderful how they've insulated themselves from any kind of distraction whatsoever that will get in the way of what they're trying to do. And as Buck said today, first and foremost, we're trying to get to October. Yeah, they have a nice lead, but they're not there yet, and he's making sure they guard against it.
Right, and as he said before, they don't scoreboard watch, they scoreboard glance. Yeah. And clearly the players, I forget who was it, said, look, I think it was Steve Pierce that said, we're not ignorant. We obviously know where we are in the standings. We know what the other teams are doing, but they're not obsessing over it. And I noticed, and I don't know if you were in there too, one day in the clubhouse, there was a Yankee game on. The Yankees had an early game, which is important for the Orioles, and yet I was checking the TVs, and I think it must have been a Saturday. There was college football on most of the televisions. So the guys weren't obsessed hanging on every pitch of a game involving a team that's closest to them in the division. They were excited about the start of college football. Tommy Hunter, big Alabama guy, was rooting for the Tide. And there were a couple other games. I think the end of the Navy game was on. So they're not hanging on every pitch of their rivals in the division. I think that's a healthy outlook.
Yeah, but there was one TV on, and J.J. Hardy did admit, oh, yeah, we were glancing at that game. It was also on by the security by the tunnel that goes out to the field behind home plate. All of the security men there were watching the game. So there's certainly a lot of excitement, but I think the approach they're taking is certainly the best way. Don't dwell on it. Don't worry about it as I drop my pen. Just go forward and try to get this thing wrapped up, and then you can celebrate in it. Now, I'm curious, what do you and all the media guys over there do during rain delays?
We sweat a lot. It's a lot colder in here than it is out there. So.
Well, we're here for you. That's Roch Kubatko joining us here. We're in a rain delay at Camden Yards.